Okay, so we're still on verse 10. May all beings exhaust the fuel of the passions. This is the prayer of the Bodhisattva when lighting a fire. It's when you're starting to cook, when in the winter you're downstairs with the furnace, loading the wood in. Okay, so at these times. So yesterday I was talking about different ways and different levels of subduing the afflictions, and at the grossest level we avoid the object, but that clearly isn't sufficient, because how can we ever control our environment and make sure that we're never with whoever it is that we get angry at or get lusty for, or whatever it is. Okay, but that is one way to deal with it. That's good at the beginning of the practice. And the second way is to apply the specific remedy for the specific affliction. Okay, so I went over those yesterdays, meditating on attachment meditating on impermanence for attachment, on patience and loving kindness for anger, and so on. Then another level is to develop samadhi, because when one has samadhi, and in particular the shamatha, when you've gone through the 9 stages to develop shamatha, or serenity, or calm abiding, however you want to translate it, then the mind can remain single-pointed on its object of meditation for as long as you wish. And during that time, the afflictions are suppressed. So it's not suppressed in the psychological sense of suppression. Don't get the two things confused. But rather, when your mind is single-pointed on an object like that with serenity, then you've already assuaged the excitement, the laxity, all the other wandering thoughts and distracting thoughts. And so while you're in meditation, those thoughts don't arise. And since all these afflictive emotions are thoughts, they're conceptual, they're all based on concept. Even though we feel they're gut feelings, they aren't. They're based on thought. So when you've subdued all that kind of disruptive thought by putting the mind single-pointedly on an object of meditation, then those afflictions can't arise during the time of meditation. Of course, when you come out of your meditation, then they can arise again. Perhaps not so strongly, because you're used to being in a meditative state, but still they can arise. So samadhi is one way to suppress the afflictions, but it doesn't eradicate them. The only way to eradicate them completely is through the realization of emptiness. Okay, so the selflessness of persons, the selflessness of phenomena, and that is because when we realize the emptiness of inherent existence, that mind completely counteracts the wisdom that grasps at inherent existence, and that wisdom is the basis of all the afflictions that we have. And the way wisdom counteracts the ignorance is that it sees that the objects that wisdom sees that the object that ignorance grasps onto, which is inherent existence, does not exist at all. Okay, so wisdom apprehends things in the totally opposite way from the way ignorance does, and so thus wisdom is able to counteract the ignorance and remove it and the seeds of the ignorance from the mind stream completely. Okay, and removing the seeds of the ignorance is just as important, okay, as removing the ignorance, because ignorance is the manifest mental state. The seeds are what carry the ignorance through time. Okay, or what carry, if you have the seeds of attachment, the seeds of anger, they carry the potential to be angry, to be ignorant, to be jealous, to be attached over time, over the time periods when that affliction is not totally manifest. So like right now we may not be angry, but we haven't eliminated the seed of anger from our mind stream. So all it takes is this, and we get angry again. Okay, so that's why it's important not only to remove the affliction, but also the seed of the affliction. Because when the seed's been eliminated, then the affliction can no longer manifest in the mind stream at all, no matter what circumstance you're in. So that's what we're aiming for, is that wisdom realizing emptiness that can eradicate the afflictions completely. So that's what you want to think when you're lighting the fire, when you're starting to cook, when you're heating the house with the fire. Okay, maybe those of you who are using a blowtorch, when you light that fire, or if you're like our fire chief, Chris, when he comes and he sprays the, what was it? The stuff.
The barricade.
The barricade. He sprayed the barricade on his finger, and then he lit the blowtorch and put that up, and it didn't burn his finger. So that's the wisdom realizing emptiness, you know? So that's what you want to think when you're lighting that blowtorch, holding it towards your finger, that you've got some barricade there. Okay.